Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Listen to this, because we all should remember these words, and this is from a person that now understands. She says, yesterday, when I witnessed a 27-year-old breast cancer patient laughing hysterically at her 2-year-old daughter's antics, I suddenly realized that I need to stop complaining about my life and start celebrating it all over again. How true. God bless America. Kate Smith, right now with a pledger on the line with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning on a Thursday. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our great Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and we certainly appreciate all 7 of them. Thank you very, very much. And also some of our great advertisers, which include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And right now, the wide receiver of the team, ready for the pass downfield. Here she is, Gina Jameson.
I got it, and I'm running for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Scurry. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is Thursday. I'm pooped.
Okay. I know what you mean. I know after all the political hubbub, we all deserve to have a day off with pay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Even though he has nothing to do with my deal. I can't give myself a day off with pay because I have to pay somebody else to come in.
This is true.
That's not fair.
So, but you can take tomorrow off.
Oh, you're thinking, aren't you?
Yeah. Take tomorrow and the rest of the weekend off.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Do we have a pledger?
Me or you?
You know what? I just love the way you do it. I got my voice on here plenty, so go ahead.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Absolutely outstanding. Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. You know, I've been telling you, they've got the do-it-yourself workshops. And these folks are really nice folks. And you ought to just go on in and ask about fixing up your home and making simple repairs, these do-it-yourself workshops. And don't forget, too, that they're located at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. And they've got lots of repurposed furniture, too, and they will meet or beat any price on flooring. So don't wait. Don't waste a minute. Call them, 678-6945. That number again without me making a mistake, 678-6945. Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. Look for the blue door at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Right now it's time for Michael Rogers' weather.
It'll be sunny and 61 for the high. It's going to be nice all the way through the weekend. Overnight low is going to be in the low to mid 30s. Enjoy the weather. John, what do you got?
All right. Thank you very much. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. You stop in and see them today. Merv May, let's sell some cattle this morning.
All right. right, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, down there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for information, 678-9411. And they are going to have a ripping good sale today. Let's get right to it. Greg Barkdahl, he was going to have those cattle coming in last week from Coldwater. Well, they had some problems, couldn't get them all loaded, so they're bringing them in today, 110 head of calves. Mont Campbell out at the Clear Creek area over in Neff area, 50 head of Hereford steers. These are good Hereford steers. Peter Grush. Hello, Peter. Haven't talked about you for a long time out there at Mull. 40 head of calves coming in. The Excalibur Ranch over there at Rockland, 40 head of calves. Brian Kincaid, Connor Creek Cowboy, 35 head of cows coming off the hill. Scott Priest of Declo, 23 head of weaned calves. Clark Ward up there at Elmo in the good country, semi-load of calves. And Oak Valley Dairy in the Burley area bringing in 100 head of cows. And Elison Ranch over at Holbrook, I know those folks, 40 head of cows coming in for a 10 o'clock sale time at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell them $1.35. Zeb Bell, get bottom.
Oh, man, I tell you what, great sale, great folks over there at Burley. Merv's done a great job along with everybody else. Appreciate them. Happy birthday today to Janelle Ford. What a lovely, nice lady. And tomorrow is her birthday. I want to make sure I get that right. November 7th. I'm a day ahead. But I won't be on the air tomorrow, so we'll go ahead and say happy birthday to Janelle Ford tomorrow, November 7th. Happy birthday. Also, right now I want to mention about Valley White Home and Ranch. We are going to be over there. I tried to get a hold of Eric the other day, and he's on vacation touring the West Coast. And you better get in there and get ready for winter. They got your heaters, heat tape, propane heaters, propane, everything you need for winter. All your winter clothing, everything at Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Winter gloves, keep your hands warm. All the boots by Ariat and John Deere clothing. Yeah, betcha. And while you're in there, have a cup of coffee or a snack. They got a great little snack bar in there. You better believe it. Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Please stop in and see them today. And don't forget, we're going to have a great big Christmas remote over there on December 11th. Going to be one heck of a lot of fun. I also want to take some time here real quick and talk about Ramsey Heating and Electric. If you have not had a nice heart-to-heart conversation with your furnace, go down in the basement and just visit with your furnace for a few minutes, and just find out what their needs are and kind of find out if they need a new air filter. Just kind of give them a nice little pat and tell them thanks for a job well done. And call Ramsey Heating and Electric. Get your furnace serviced so that they're ready to go for the winter to keep you warm. And check the air filters. I mean, please, they work hard for you, so be nice to your furnace. And Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I sat there in total disbelief yesterday, watching the news conference of Barack Hussein Obama, the most cocky, arrogant, abrasive Barack Hussein Obama, I think, the least qualified to be president ever in all of our presidencies. That press conference yesterday, when he come in there, he had hatred in his eyes. Now, I know that's human nature. You just took a good thumping. But you would think there'd be a little humility. You would think there'd be a little bit of, well, we got our tails stepped on, and now we better maybe try to work with the other guys. Nuh-uh. No. As a matter of fact, this man, I think, is now backed into a corner like a rat. And I think he's going to do anything and everything to basically push upon us his ideology. I'm scared. I am scared. I'm so scared I just knocked my glasses into the microphone. Yesterday, he said he's going to basically continue down his ideological road because he said that's what his base wants him to do, and so he's going to do it. So he is going to try, and he basically came out and said this yesterday. Listen to the tapes. He's going to step over, around, through Congress and basically use, I keep using the word basically, but that's what it is, use his pen and his phone, and he's just going to go ahead and do it the way he wants to. Now more than ever, we need to be afraid of this man on energy policies and really watch what's going to happen. This is my prediction. It's nobody else's. I don't pay attention to anybody else on the radio or TV. I listen, I gather information about what they're talking about, but I don't espouse to their personal feelings because I make up my own. That's what I want to be very clear on this. Anything I say on this program comes from me, nobody else. I honestly believe that we need to watch the EPA. I think right now they are getting a nudge from the Oval Office. And this nudge is so negative for us, it's a nudge that says, go get them, meaning us. Watch out for edicts coming down from the EPA. Watch out for an illegal alien reform on immigration. Watch out for something devastating on gun control. This steely-eyed tyrant is going to be out of control. Out of absolutely control. And for those that don't like to hear anything, oh, that's so radical, then you better turn your radio off. Because I think this man is going to devise any and all problems that will make sure that he can have and impose more government control, even to the point of martial law. This is an egomaniac. This is a man that absolutely was put in office by big money people to further the liberal left cause and absolutely destroy the concept, the moral fabric, and the Constitution of the United States of America. That is my feeling. I don't like this man. I don't like what he's doing to America. And the Republicans have got a chance. We have a chance. Somebody threw us a life preserver. That somebody was the American voting public. And if Mitch McConnell or Ted Cruz or anyone of the Republican Party starts to mess this up, I absolutely hope, and I know a lot of people are going to cringe, oh, you're advocating violence. I hope they get thumped on the melon outside the Senate chambers. There's no time for any more mistakes. There's no time for bending over backwards, smiling, and saying, oh, gee, what a nice day. Maybe we'll get it done tomorrow. It's time to be aggressive. It's time to go after the prize. It's time to work for the American people. It's time to, if you have to, step over the President of the United States of America. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zed. You know, maybe we should give the guy a chance, but he will step in it before it's too long, and then I think the Republican Party ought to go ahead and proceed with impeachment, because we're not going to look any worse in 2016. But if we let him continue on his path, he will destroy America.
Keith, I don't think that, I got to really be careful how I say this. I don't think that the Republican Party will waste the time and the effort. And please, these are not my thoughts that it is a waste, but I think this is some of theirs. They will waste the time and the effort and the money to go after the man on impeachment. I really don't. There are some that are advocating not to do that. There are some that try to go after him in any other way, shape, or form, but not impeachment. One of those I have a lot of respect for, and that's political pundit and very observant person, Charles Krauthammer. Myself personally, if they can do anything to get this man out of office, I'm in favor of it. If they can do anything to thwart all of these basic programs that he wants to throw upon the American shoulders, I'm for it. I agree with you. There's got to be toughness right now.
Well, any president would sit in there with his foreign policy advisor and everything and just sit there like a dummy, and when he gets all done, he said, I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway.
Yeah.
And, that's terrible. But, one thing I'd like to see on this Obamacare, I don't think they can repeal it completely. It would leave this nation in chaos because people all of a sudden would be without insurance, and there's just a lot of complications to it.
Yeah, and the president made, I think, absolutely a stupid, clueless comment when he said, quote, more people, this is him in the press conference yesterday, more people have insurance today because of Obamacare. Keith, he never once addressed the 31 million that are still uninsured and never addressed the numbers that have lost their coverage. This president is nothing more than a fraudulent liar.
If you want to give me insurance and you pay for it yourself, then you can count me in as an insured person. And that's just exactly what he's done.
Yeah.
These people that he's drug into it are not. The payers, they're not going to pay their way. The government's going to have to pay their way. But the one thing I would like to see him repeal about Obamacare is this open enrollment.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of your business during that period, you cannot change insurance companies till the next enrollment.
I agree with you. I agree with you. The reparations, and I got another caller waiting I got to get on too, Keith, but the reparations that need to be done with Obamacare are so extreme. Plus, all the hidden amenities in that bill that even go as far as gun control. It's ridiculous that our politicians did this to us. Keith, God bless you always. You bring up good points. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, sir. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my. We gave Thomas the plaque on behalf of Lunch Bunch last week, and he got all teary-eyed and everything. But, my Lunch Bunchers really appreciate great service, and they appreciate great food at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley. Thomas and Terry and the whole staff have bent over backwards to be so nice, so congenial, so helpful, and so efficient. We really appreciate them at Denny's Restaurant. You will too. Stop in. You're going to love the menu. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Lunch, that is, not lunch. It's lunch. L-U-N-C-H. Attaboy, Zeb. You can say it. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Denny's Restaurant. 611 Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I think I agree. Impeachment proceedings should begin immediately. He's already said he wants to do the amnesty thing for illegal aliens. And, he's got such a lot of baggage on him. And now that he's a lame duck, he's not just a lame duck, he's a crippled duck with his head on the chopping block. And he needs to be, taken out of there because he's already been very defiant and so forth. But and Mitch McConnell's what scares me. He's a neocon internationalist, and yesterday in his press conference said he agreed with Obama on these trade agreements. Well, I can guarantee you we got two trade agreements that will make NAFTA look like nothing. The one with the EU and the Pacific Rim countries, there's two different trade agreements that the State Department is negotiating, and they have very little to do with trade, but have a lot to do with political and economic merger. and nobody knows about those.
Okay.
And he's ready to, sign our country into a regional government, give away our independence. This is Mitch McConnell. This is not Obama, but he's going along with Obama, who wants the same program.
Okay, but wait a minute, Adrian. I got to jump in here.
Sure.
But we're stuck with him right now, maybe. It hasn't been a slam dunk deal that he is going to be the majority leader of the Senate. There are some rumblings. There might be a vote, maybe not to let him have the job. But even if he gets it, it's up to us. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to everybody else to start taking their fist and banging it on the table and saying no. The American public deserves some of the headaches that are cast upon them because we're too lazy to jump up and say no.
Well, absolutely, but people need to be aware of what's going on behind the scenes.
I agree.
It hasn't even made and nobody's talking about it. There's only a few groups like the John Birch Society and a few others that are on base with this thing, and people need to be aware of what's happening. And Mitch McConnell's on Obama's team on these negotiations, and we know what's done with NAFTA. NAFTA was terrible. We've lost over 1 million jobs. 40,000 factories have moved overseas, and these agreements, the EU is broke. And, we're not in great shape, so they're going to drag us down into that mess.
All right. I got to get a commercial break in and then a hard break at the bottom of the hour. Adrian, I agree with you, but we've got to be cognizant. We've got the power of the vote, the power of the phone, the power of demanding to our our leaders. We've got a lot of power that we're not using, but we've got to be cognizant of what's going on. I agree with you.
People get on jbs.org and learn about these trade agreements real quick. Because McConnell, they may do this they may try to get this thing passed and get a hold of McConnell, get hold of our senators by phone, email, however, and get the job done. Folks, we're about to lose our country even despite the fact we had quite an election victory the other night.
I agree with you. Thanks, Adrian. God bless. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
And the thing that, and I agree with Adrian on that, what really bothered me about Obama yesterday was his comment, and if you listen to this newscast, this news conference, you picked up on this, I'm sure, but he basically had a complaint that his supporters didn't turn out at the polls. He said 2/3 of the voters who choose not to participate, I hear you too. And he suggested that his defeat was caused by legislative gridlock rather than the unpopularity of his goals. Now, I sat there, and I've been doing this kind of thing for over 40 years. And I thought, what an absolute clown with full makeup on this Obama is. He was basically saying that the 2/3 of the voters that didn't go to the polls on Tuesday didn't go because they didn't feel like their voices were going to be heard, and they were supporters of Obama. If they were supporters of Obama and his policies, they would have showed up at the polls. This man knows manipulation better than anybody I've ever seen in office. And the voices of the people that did go to the polls, those of you that took the time and the effort to be real Americans, God bless you. And now we need to keep fighting. And I mean literally fighting for what's right in this country. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say thank you very much to Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh boy, Eli and Nick and everybody else. These are really good folks. And they've got 3 locations serving you with all the equipment that you need for the kind of the fall cleanup and the get ready for winter and all that type of thing. They've got all the Coyote tractors, just rows and rows of them, and they got the big Doosan loaders. Oh my! And they've got all, of course, I said the Bobcat loaders and all the man lifts. They got all the equipment you need to rent or buy right there at Barry Equipment and Rental. And locations on Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Rome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. Nobody does the job as good as they do at Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. I've got about a minute and a half before the break. Go ahead.
Okay, Zeb, this nut job up there in the White House wants to use executive powers to flood this country with more illegal aliens that are going to end up on welfare. How would we ever be able to save the taxpayers in this country when he's going to put a huge burden on them by bringing these people in? This guy has no brains at all.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. This is where you and I are going to argue. He's got a lot of brains. He's got a lot of ability. But he is a leftist liberal with an ideology against America and the Constitution. He's way too smart like a fox, Tony.
Well, people are going to sit back and do nothing again and just let the Republican Party sink themselves. That's not going to help.
I agree. We have got to be so vigilant. I've got to speak at a gathering on Monday, as a matter of fact, at noon. And one of the points I want to bring out is that we've got to, and hold on everybody, slam our fist down on the table and say no. We have got to be vocal. We have got to be very firm. We have got to tell our elected officials what we want done and demand that it gets done. That's what we have to do to make this Republican vote effective, Tony.
Well, why can't we have a bunch of outings at some of our fairgrounds there and have a real rah-rah session going?
I'm for it. I'll help organize it. If you'll be there with me, I'll help. I promise.
Okay, if you get it going, I'll be there.
All right, Tony. Always appreciate you. God bless you, man.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Real quick, I've got to go to the Capitol Press Ag Minute, and I'll be right back.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
Another legal victory for proponents of the U.S. country of origin meat labeling rule has set up an international clash that could have dire consequences for Western agriculture. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C. last week denied a request by opponents to reconsider its July ruling in favor of the labeling rule. But while U.S. courts may establish that the rule is unconstitutional, last month's Second World Trade Organization condemnation of cool refueled debates over whether it's fair to Canada and Mexico. Hanging in the balance are major Western commodities, such as California's $24 billion wine industry and Washington's $2.25 billion apple industry, which have been threatened with retaliatory tariffs.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget the Book Plaza with Colonel Dale and the rest of the crew at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. They're going to be the main sponsor for the Fall Festival being held this Saturday, November 8th from noon to 4 p.m. at the Burley CSI Gymnasium. Hey, free to the public. Lots of game and food booths. Going to be good. All the proceeds go to Project Rudolph and special needs children in the Mini-Cassia area. Thank you to the Book Plaza for all their support in the community. Official sponsor of the Boy Scouts, Colonel Dale and the rest of the crew at the Book Plaza. A great place for your Christmas shopping. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I almost forgot what I was going to call about.
I'm sorry. I had to get all that in. I apologize.
No, I know. You've got to pay your bills. And I'm glad that you do, because there's too many people who don't. Anyway, I have I'm the chairman of the voting precinct that I live in, and we have over 500 people who have signed up to be voters. And the minute our polls were opened on Tuesday, we had people, and it was a steady stream until the last person came in about 3 minutes before 8 o'clock, and we didn't even have a chance to eat or to almost do the other things we've got to do. And we had probably 2/3 of our people show up. So Idahoans, or the people in my precinct, are really interested and anxious to make changes. The thing about it is, it's kind of amazing how maybe sometimes our politicians don't look at those numbers and look at the responsibility that they have, and they don't seem to hear us.
Well, here's what my promise is to you and every other single person listening on this program this morning. And it's simple. It's a very simple promise. I promise to be the junkyard dog, the main influence of power and biting at the heels of all of these politicians, whether it's Crapo, Risch, Labrador, or Simpson. I promise I am going to do all I can. I promise I'm going to represent your voices. I promise I'm not going to let these politicians just escape and with a pat on the shoulder and a good old boy attitude. I absolutely, when I get Crapo on the air, I'm going to let him know when he calls this next week that, Mike, no more good old boy. I want you to be a junkyard dog. I'm going to go after Risch. I'm going to go after Labrador. I especially, and you know why, am going to go after Mike Simpson. He has been very rude to this program, and I'm going to demand that he starts calling in on this show to make his constituents aware of what he's doing. I'm going to start making demands to these people because they're our employees.
Well, and I do know that you, because I listen to you all the time, I think that you really do get after and try to stay in touch with our politicians. And maybe the day before that you know they're going to be coming on your program, some of us should call in and we should make an out loud discussion of how we're feeling so that when you have that person on the line, then you can say, you know, my people called in yesterday. This is what's making them a little uneasy.
I agree with that. Now, here's something else, too. It always seems, and I'm not pointing the finger at any one politician, but it always seems like when they call and their people make the appointment, they always say, well, now, we've got about 10 minutes here and we've got about 15 minutes here. That's over. And I'll tell you why, Chris. I'm not going to be accepting any more little bitty 10-minute programs. They're either going to stay on for a full segment or they're not going to be invited on the program. Why? Because I don't have enough time to hurry up and get through a multiplicity of questions so that you, their constituents, understand where they're coming from. So they're either going to give us more time or they're not going to come on the show.
Right. And I think that what the talk show hosts in everywhere need to do is need to take a little time out and give people the Washington, D.C. phone numbers to these people.
Amen. And I'm writing that down so that they will do that. I don't care if it's Crapo, I don't care who it is. They should always say, and very good point, you can contact me at such and such a number in my office. People will get the questions to me. I agree with you. Chris, call me after the program and we'll design this and make sure that all that information is taken care of. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
God bless you. Thanks. I'll tell you what, folks, I don't owe them anything. I don't owe Crapo or Risch or Simpson anything. I don't have to bow at their altar. I really don't care if I hurt their feelings. I will do the interviews with respect for the job that they have. Keep in mind the job that they have. I will keep in mind also that we pay them. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Got a good question for you. Who picks the Speaker of the Senate? How is he picked?
Well, it'll be Mitch McConnell unless there's a voice of opposition and the Republicans decide, boy, I don't know, he's the man in power, but we would just as soon have somebody else. You know, I anticipate, Dal, that there is going to be some rumblings in the next 48 hours, maybe through the weekend that'll come up on Monday, to where they're going to start maybe picking some other names that possibly it might throw a fly in the milk about Mitch McConnell being the Senate Majority Leader.
Well, it still don't answer my question. Who picked Mitch McConnell?
Well, he was the Senate Minority Leader, and then with the change and transition of power, he elevates to the Senate Majority Leader when the Republicans took over with the seats enough to take power in the Senate. But that position is not a slam dunk, is what I'm trying to say. It will be possibly voted on by the members of that board that are going to pick and choose news as to whether or not he will retain that position. We're going to know a lot more about this in the next couple of days, and I think that people like Ted Cruz and some others might voice an opposition strong enough to where they'll mount a charge to see if they can't have that Speaker of the House, or pardon me, the Senate Majority Leader.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to know.
All right. Dal, you are always a good guy. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Sam, I wonder if Mike Simpson's voting record will improve now that the Republicans have control. I'll bet it raises above 46% conservative.
You and I were thinking of the same thing earlier this morning. I was putting together a little thought about that for this next week's program. Here's what I would love the listeners to do, you included, Fred. Call their office and not ask, but demand that Mike make a showing on this program so that he can talk to the constituents that he is supposedly representing. He and his staff have ignored us because of our kind of a friction that was caused over the Muslim issue. And I maintain I'm still right. I maintain he's still wrong. But you know what? We need to work together to get the point out. But Mike has not called this office. Mike has not called me personally. And you know what, Fred? I'm not going to be the dog always chasing the parked car. I've always called his office. I've always made the arrangements to have him on the program. Why is it that he can't make the call this time?
Well, it's over that Michelle Bachmann.
That's right.
I'll call his office.
Good. Tell him. I wished everybody would. Because you know something?
He needs to get in touch with his constituents.
There you go.
He thinks he's there for life.
Why is it, and tell me this, my dear friend, why is it that politicians, and not all of them, I mean the people that work here in the state, they are calling me and they're saying, hey, can we do this? Can we get on the air? Can we talk about this? I really respect that. But when it gets to the point where I feel like I have to go hat in hand to get Crapo on the air, or to get Risch on the air, or to get Simpson on the air, I'm not going to do it anymore, Fred, because they're no better than we are, and they work for us.
That's absolutely right. They should be calling in there, and wanting to tell us what they're doing. And every day they should be thinking of their constituents.
Let me tell you something.
Thinking of their buddies in D.C.
Let me tell you something, Fred, and I think now that the election is over, I can be more vocal about this. But, you know, a lot of people voice their concern and negativity against Butch Otter having another third term as governor. But here's the caveat. Butch personally, or his staff members, John Hanyon, etc., always called me and asked me if the governor could please come on the program. Now, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I respect that, because they called me up. They said, do you have about 10 or 15 minutes or so that the governor could please come on, or Butch talk to me personally? I respect that. But when you get to the point where you think you're better than everybody else, like I think Mike Simpson has felt about this program, I am not going to continually keep calling him and begging him to come on this show.
Sure. The one that really bothered me on that was Janet Jones losing that. I felt that she was far better qualified than Sherry Rivera.
But now we need to exercise your right and my right, everybody's right, to make sure we hold their feet to the fire to get the job done. Everybody needs to be vocal. Everybody needs to call. Everybody needs to keep pushing, because right now is a golden opportunity to turn this country around, and it's not going to be done with laziness or slovenliness.
Well, you know what I'll do.
I wish there were about 362 million Fred Prestons. God bless you, Brad. Thanks. Thank you. Fred will. I mean, he'll get the job done. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Number to call for the bakery goods. Did you know that they've got a bakery over there? Outstanding. Cookie bars, homemade bread, cinnamon rolls, wedding cakes. Oh! And believe me, I was over there the other day with some dear, dear friends, the Zaninos, and we had a feast. A feast. Oh, it was delicious. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Sophie's Chatterbox. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sophie's Chatterbox on the Square in Rupert. The lovely Gina Jameson and I had a little conversation before the program started this morning. Are you there, lovely Gina Jameson? Pardon me? Oh, okay. About half a mile away from the headsets,
huh? The microphone was actually switched around the other way.
I thought so because it sounded like you were calling in from outer Mongolia.
Yes, I was.
Oh, okay. I am going to have, right after the weather forecast, proof that the Bible had a phrase in the Bible that referred to drones of today.
And you and I were talking about this, and this has truly piqued my interest. And so when after we do the weather, we have to get into this because I want to actually pull up that verse, that scripture.
Yeah, I found it the other day, and it all of a sudden hit me right in the eye as to, that could be applicable to the drones of today. Stand by, but right now it's the weather, brought to you by Mad River Laser, and all the buck knives are on sale at 10% off with free engraving. Carhartt jackets at Mad River, ready to embroider with your business name, your name, everything. Oh, and the wooden business cards. Gina hasn't seen these yet. I've got a whole bunch of them made up with my logo of my business and my name and everything. They are fantabulous. Stop into Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. You bet Nicole and the rest of the crew serving you. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. It's real simple. Got nice weather all the way through the weekend. And your temperature is going to be in the low 60s for the daytime high. Might be 65. Overnight will be right around the low to mid-30s. Good weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you. I was talking to my lovely bride. Brought to you by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. You betcha, right on the square. Okay, Gina, you ready for this?
Yes.
I'm going to give you two versions. I'm going to give you the King James version. Deanna, it's right there underneath. There you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to give you the King James version, and then I'm also going to read out of the Living Bible. And personally, I found this, and I thought, holy smokes, that almost looks like they're referring absolutely to drones in biblical times. So here we go with the King James Version.
Okay.
Curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter.
Oh.
Yeah, now here is chapter 10, verse 20 from the Living Bible. And let me get it here real quick as, never curse the king, not even in your thoughts, nor the rich man either, for a little bird will tell them what you've said.
Oh.
And you know when you read that, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, they're not talking about drones. Remember the guy that we had on, Mike Maiden, author from California about a year ago that had written the book Drones?
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how today, with the inflection of drones going into every aspect of our life, they can go anywhere, they can tape any conversation, they can hear anything with these extreme sound systems and everything, and they are in the shape of little hummingbirds and everything. Yeah. And I found that in the Bible, and I just wanted to read it to you and see what your response would be.
Well, there's a lot of old sayings and proverbs that that talk about a little birdie told me this, or a little birdie told me that. So you know where I'm going to go with this. However, in today's technological society, those little birds really could be drones, and so maybe we are reading just a little bit into it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's rather prophetic in the 21st century.
But
as you go back and actually look at that, and then you can apply it to today's technology and what's going on.
But the way it is said, curse not the king.
Yeah, exactly.
And curse not the rich in thy bedchamber, thinking you are safe in your home.
Because you're not.
For a little bitty birdie of the air shall carry the voice. In other words, maybe tape your conversation.
Yes.
And that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Really, when you think about it and you go through the Bible, you will find thousands and thousands and thousands of verses that are applicable to not only yesteryear, but also modern times.
Yes. It's funny how, well, I won't say it's funny. I think it's amazing how the Bible is, and the verses and the way it's written is so applicable to any sort of situation and any sort of timeline within history.
And especially today,
yeah,
where we've had stories for the last couple of years about how the severity of the NSA and the spying on the American public, and we don't even know all the methods and means that they're using to gather our conversations up and find out more about us, whether it's through our smartphones, whether it's through taping with extremely modern, high-powered receiving and microphone stations. We have no clue. And when you read something like Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 20, it gave me a very chilling feeling.
Yeah, and if you could honestly, maybe I'll have to just have Deanne email me that, and so I can actually bring it up, because I want to pull out my Bible and I actually want to read. I want to see the visual print myself, just so I can take it in, because I think it's so interesting in just so many ways.
I can give it to you real quick over there. It's Ecclesiastes. It's right after Proverbs in the Bible, and it's chapter 10, verse 20. Real simple.
10, verse 20.
Right.
Okay. And you've got a phone call.
All right. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Oh, no. Patience. There's a lot about patience in the Bible, too.
Really?
Yes.
You have none. You have no patience.
I know. That's one thing. When the good Lord had me standing in line prior to my birth here on earth, and they were passing out patience, I must have left and went to the bathroom.
Or you weren't paying attention to that.
I guess not. I don't have any patience.
Is that something that's learned, or something that you're just you automatically have?
It's hereditary.
Is it? It's
hereditary, because my dad was the same way. My dad had the patience span of up to the count of 1,001. That's it.
You didn't even get to 1,002. So I can get to 10. I have the patience of 10.
No.
After 10, I've lost it.
No. That's the one thing I don't have. I was never gifted to be able to put together all those model kits and everything.
See, I could. I needed a little bit of help, but I could. But I would have to, set it aside, because I'd get frustrated, and so I'd want to break it. And so I'd have to walk away.
Well, my grandfather, because I was in the hospital a lot when I was a little kid, he used to get me all these glue together, like the USS Forrestal, the world's largest aircraft carrier and all that.
Thanks,
And it came with, I think, I don't want to exaggerate on this, but I think there was over 500 different gluable parts to put that thing together. I got through the flight deck and the base. Two parts, and that was it.
And those were the two biggest parts.
Yeah, they were the easy ones.
Yeah, they were the easiest ones to glue together. And you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. I said, if you want to float this boat, then float it yourself.
Listen, I'm not going to do it, Dad.
I don't have time for that stuff.
Funny.
And I know today, seriously, in the home that I was raised in, up in the attic are probably no less than 30 to 40 possibly model airplane and boat kits that have never been opened.
You can send them our way.
I ought to get those, because I would imagine a lot of those are maybe worth a lot of money. They've never even been opened. The plastic has never even been cut on the box.
Honestly, they are, and especially if they have not been opened, collectors will buy those and then put those together themselves, because finding those old school model kits anymore is very, very difficult. It's hard to find. There's only a few stores that you can actually get them, and those stores are honestly, kind of on the wayside and going out of business themselves.
So you're telling me that I've got a great amount of money that's just laying in an attic back in Wisconsin?
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Yes. Kind of like your comic books.
No, not only comic books, but the baseball cards. I got to tell you this. I've mentioned it on the air before, but when I was a little bitty kid, I was infatuated with baseball. I love baseball. I love playing baseball. I love every part of baseball. And I had all the original cards, now think about this, of Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and Stan Musial and all of their original cards, which are worth, and they were in mint condition. My mother, when I left to go to college, cleaned out my room and threw them all away.
And now you are sick to your stomach.
I would be driving to my radio stations, plural, in a Lexus. But they're gone.
They're gone.
Got a quick call, and then I got to do a commercial. Caller, I've only got 2 minutes. Real fast, go.
Okay, Zeb, are you happy with what happened with the governor's race in Wisconsin?
Absolutely enthralled, because Scott Walker showed his toughness, he showed his mettle, he showed what he's worthy of representing the people, because the liberals have gone after him 3 times in the last 4 years and tried to literally crucify him, and he stuck his chin out and said, shoot your best shot, and he whooped them.
Yep, and I voted on voting day 2. I did.
All right, sir.
Well, anyway, I'm happy with the election, the way it turned out. I'm glad, but like you said earlier with Mitch McConnell, I think we really need to put somebody else in that position.
Yeah, the other caller, Adrian, had called about Mitch McConnell. I'm not so sure that Mitch McConnell, he's kind of like an old tire on a new car. He just doesn't seem to fit for me.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, sir. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and service is the key word. And they're asking you a good question. Are you ready for winter driving? Are you ready for winter driving? Now, we get spoiled, we go outside of the house and we look around and it's nice and it's in the 60s and everything. And then all of a sudden, some morning, we're going to go outside and bang, we're going to stub our toe in a snowdrift. And then you're going to go, oh boy, should have got the chains, should have got the studded snow tires, should have been ready for winter driving. Don't put it off. Please don't put it off. Stop into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today. They've got all the snow chains. They've got all the batteries. They've got the best in front end alignments and shocks and struts, and of course the very best in brake service. And naturally, the best in tires for your safe wintertime driving. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, man, what's coming up next hour? We are going to have the Chamber of Commerce report. We've got Joel Heward on from Handsome Mortuary. We've got Dog Nation. We've got Rita. We've got all kinds of things right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Do not go away. And that'll be a lot of fun. Something else I was going to mention. We just received word that Jared Meyer from the Manhattan Institute is going to be visiting with us at 10:30 this morning in regards to the new priorities for the Republican Party. This is a sharp young guy, and I'm looking forward to have him on the air at 10:30 this morning. We'll be back in 6. Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Okay, here we go. Hour number 2. Kind of a cloudy, hazy, just kind of a lazy November day so far. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and including some of our great advertisers, which are Lee's Furniture, and many of them, Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Also want to mention to you our friends at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh my goodness, have you stopped in there? You'd better, because this is quite a place, and these folks really, really care about all of your prices on flooring. They will meet or beat any price on flooring, and they've got a lot of the repurposed furniture. Excuse me. Ate that cheese too fast. A lot of the repurposed furniture for your home, and also they've got all the Christmas decorations. Oh, she just absolutely has a bundle of Christmas organizations and decorations over there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-6945. Look for the blue door. Right now, let's go on over the river and through the woods to the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce we go. And here's the lovely Kay Cameron. Good morning.
Good morning, but this is Jackie, not Kay.
Well, for heaven's sakes. Jackie, how are you?
I am doing well. Kay's up with the board at Albion at the retreat right now, planning out the new year.
All right. Well, what have you got that you want to just talk about this morning?
Oh, our big Farmer Businessman of the Year banquet coming up on the 13th. And this year's recipients are Tim and Jana Darrington, our Farmers of the Year out of Declo. Mm-hmm. And they are well known in the area and have done a lot for the community. And then there's Dr. Bill Williams over at Family Vision in Rupert. He has served several missions and helped lots of people with eye care and just donates his time to everything. And so all 3 of them are well worth the honor.
All right.
So we hope you can come out. It's at the Best Western on the 13th, and social hour starts at 6 and dinner at 7.
Now, what about the cost of the tickets? How much are they?
They're $25 a plate, and they can be purchased here at the Chamber up till the 10th. We have to, unfortunately, give them a head count, so we have to put it into the ticket sales on the 10th.
Okay, now, nice and loud into your phone receiver. Give us the time, the date, and the cost again, real quick.
Okay, November 13th, and it is at 6 for the social hours, 7 for the dinner, and $25 a plate.
No, it's going to be great, and I think that's a really good function to go to, and tell everybody you appreciate them. What else is going on with the Chamber of Commerce?
Okay, well, in the community right now, we have lots going on. Scrooge the Musical starts tonight up at Oakley. And then this weekend is the Diamond Phil Jack, Idaho Cowboy Poet Gathering over at the Wilson Theater. They're having a craft show going on at the same time, and then that night they're having the Poet Gathering. And also tomorrow there's the Magic Philharmonic Fall Concert, which is always a great event to attend. And that's at the Keene Fine Arts Center.
All right, now, are you going to put on your boots and spurs and your 35-gallon hat and be over there giving a bunch of cowboy poetry?
No, I'm not really good at that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Going.
Okay. Now, as far as the Chamber's concerned, also, Jackie, you've got quite a gift shop over there that all year round it's open, but right now, this time of the year, going in towards the holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas, you've got a lot of unique items over there, don't you?
Definitely. Everything is Idaho. We try to have lots and lots and lots of things. We have books, we have candy, we have magnets, souvenirs, T-shirts, the Cowboy Toms. We have a wonderful hearty barley soup. Everything we have in here just would make amazing gifts for everybody. And we also put together gift baskets for those who would like it to give somebody a gift basket. And I put together one yesterday just plumb full of our Idaho gifts. We have cowgirl chocolates out of Moscow. Some are mild, some are spicy, so depending on your flavor.
You know, and every time Kay's on the air with us every week, she gives all the multiplicity of ways they can get a hold of the Chamber. But one question I keep forgetting to ask her is, what are the hours that your offices are open?
We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and during the summer, we're open on the weekends if we have volunteers to man it.
Okay. And
right now we're into the fall, darn it.
Right. So, and now I'm going to ask you, what are the different ways that people...
You can reach us at 679-4793. You can walk in the door at 11777 7th Street in Hayburn, or you can reach us on Facebook and Twitter.
All right. Jackie, you did a great job. Apply for a raise. You deserve it.
Hey, all right.
Okay.
I hope that's what they're discussing today.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Jackie.
Okay, thank you.
Jackie with the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and we really appreciate her being on the air with us this morning. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to wait for Gina to tell me if she has our next guest on the phone.
He is ready.
Oh, Gina, thank you very much. I appreciate it. A gentleman that I absolutely have a lot of respect for. He's been so helpful on various community projects and also helping with our lunch bunch every month. And that's, of course, Joel Heward, the manager of Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Joel, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning to you.
Joel, this time of the year, I just wanted to have you on the radio, and this time of the year with the leaves falling and the sun and going into the winter season and also the holiday season of Thanksgiving and Christmas, everything, people get a little melancholy and they start thinking of loved ones that might have been passed. This could be a real tough time of the year, couldn't it?
Yes, it can. For people, it can really be a tough time.
What should they do, or how can you possibly help them?
Well, the best thing I think people can do is get out and be involved in the community. You know, our little town of Rupert here, particularly, you know, and I'm sure it's in other small towns, but we're centered right here in Rupert, so I'm most familiar with that. We just have so many things that go on, and you know, little events that can get you out, and you know, people can realize by being out that they're not alone and that they're with other people, and there are groups available. Somebody who's having a particularly hard time, and you know, but enjoy the seasons, the good side of it, and you know, honor your loved ones that you are missing.
You know, Joel, when I lost both my mom and my dad, you feel a certain vacant space in your heart. But for those out there that might have lost a spouse or whatever, what do you tell people? I know it's easy to say now, don't just sit there, please get out and do something. But boy, taking that initial step to get out and do something, that's a little tough, isn't it?
It is, especially, you know, this time of year. We have rough weather at times, and you know, a lot of people don't like to go out and brave that weather on those days, but you know, there's lots of groups. You know, we had in Rupert we have, you know, there's exercise groups, anything that you can get out and just to be with other people. You know, I don't think we as human beings are meant to be alone, and if we are somewhat alone, our family is distant or whatever, or we, you know, are past, you know, let's find a friend. Let's keep an eye on our neighbors. Let's make friends. You know, that's what I encourage people to do, is just to not be alone.
Absolutely. Now, Joel, one thing with Hanson Mortuary, it's a family business, and you've made it very easy for folks around the area, whether they live out in the outlying area in some of the smaller towns and regions, that if there is the passing of a loved one, that you will go to them. Is that right, and help with the arrangements?
We definitely try to do that, you know, and go to them to make it easy. You know, if we have many people who call upon our services who never even have to set foot in the funeral home if they choose not to, and if that's what they choose and that's what they want and that helps them, you know, we do all that we can to support them and do that for them. And you know, I just really want to thank those who have supported us and who have supported us as we strive to support, you know, all of you and, you know, our community events. And, you know, your support has helped. I mean, I just want people to know that your support to my family, myself, and, you know, this business, my business, you know, it has helped. And we're so so thankful that people have called upon us to serve them and do that. And, and because of their support, we will be here in the future because, the people have asked us to be here and they want us to be here. And, we just try to serve you. We try to take care of you.
Absolutely. Now, Joel, one other thing I wanted to talk about this morning is that you go to great lengths to make sure that the personality of the person that has been deceased is put across in the service. And you'll do anything you can to make sure that the family's expectations of the service are met and exceeded, won't you?
Well, definitely. We pride ourselves on standing for service and not just a production. We want it to be a service, to you and your family and your loved one. But we definitely welcome new ideas and requests. We're striving to do all that we can to get something put together that a family requests. I'm learning new things all the time in putting those requests together. We just want to do what you want and not always do what others have done. We want it to be for you and your loved one.
Absolutely. Joel Heward, manager of Hanson Mortuary, a dear friend of this program, and he's such a community supporter as far as different events are concerned and everything. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and the number to call, 436-5636. Joel, thank you for being on here, and if I don't get a chance to wish you a happy Thanksgiving before that day, a very happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. And you as well, and appreciate all of your info and all the hard work you do to keep this community and us informed. We appreciate that.
All right, Joel, you're always welcome on the show. Appreciate everything you do. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Very, very nice man, Joel Heward with Hanson Mortuary. I'm proud to have him on the program. Oh, my goodness, let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got all the new snow machines in there. Oh, boy. And all the accessories. They're just waiting for the angel dandruff to fall on the hill, and away you go. Yeah, away you go. And by the way, you'd better take time to have all your watercraft winterized. You don't want that freezing up. And your ATVs winterized. And make sure you also understand that they've got snowplows for your ATVs. Not that you think there's going to be a whole bunch of snow. There very well could be this winter, and there you will be ready to scrape that snow out of the way. My goodness, let's ride where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. Oh, let's see what else have we got here. Oh, I wanted to touch on this. I am not a person that believes in hiring people for just the sake of their color or their race. Absolutely, I think this is ridiculous. Well, a study was released yesterday that shows that the top leadership positions among football bowl subdivision schools and conferences, according to this story by the Associated Press, are overwhelmingly white and male. Well, duh. Why is it that we have to start hiring and be cognizant of hiring people just on account of color? Now, I want to just say this up front. My wife made the comment last Sunday during pro football, and she was right. When they were showing the headshots of all the team players on offense and defense, on the one team that they were showing, there was one white player on offense. On the defense, there was no white Caucasian player. So in other words, you had 22 people on the field at that time playing football. One was white. And the argument that we have to keep always increasing the number of colored into various jobs, whether it's coaching, whether it's athletic directors, whatever the case might be, because there's always these crybabies out in the audience saying that, oh, well, that's not enough. Oh, and so-and-so got fired. So you have to hire at least one or two more to make up that deficit. Are we that cold and calloused that we can't hire just under the professionalism of doing a good job or being worthy of that job? I think it is disgusting and despicable that a job should be based on the color of their skin and also forgetting about their ability. What are your thoughts on that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call, I'll get Gina on and ask her about that.
Don't we have Dog Nation to do today?
Yeah, but it's not time.
According to my clock, it is.
No, it's only 10:22. We usually don't start till 10:24. 9:22.
And what time is it?
It is, well, yeah, but it's 9:22.
And we do Dog Nation at 9:20.
Would you stop complaining at me? I've got a commercial to run, lady.
Go for it.
Okay. By the way, let's talk about Dean Cameron and Todd Siemens over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Absolutely with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of these things for you, your business, and your security. You give them a call today, 436-4424, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance waiting right now to serve you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, where'd all these dogs come from anyway? Gina did.
Yes, I did.
Wait, you really are hammering at me and you hurt my feelings. I'm going to go in the corner and I'm going to pout.
I was kind of wondering if you were even paying attention to the clock and you forgot where you were at.
No, I had time. Normally, we don't start till about 9:25.
It's always been 9:20 on the rundown.
Well, my rundown is the one that supersedes your rundown. Okay. Now that you are filling in for dog handler and professional trainer, along with being Minidoka animal control expert Ken Mort, what do you got?
Well, he wanted me to feature Rory today. Now, Rory, he is a Border Collie Griffin cross. He's about 1 to 2 years old. He's black and white, very friendly. He loves people. He wants to be a lap dog. He's a little bit larger than a lap dog, but that's his dream in life. He wants to be a lap dog.
How do you know? I mean, seriously, how does one gaze into the eyes of a canine and the dog gazes back and says, I want to be a lap dog?
Because they climb up on your lap.
Oh. Okay.
That's how you know. He's good on the leash. He seems to be house trained.
Wait a minute. There is no gray there, babe.
Well, they don't have a house at the animal shelter. It's all outside, so they don't know for sure whether he's house trained or not. So they believe to be him as such.
I see.
He was found with collar, but he had no tags. He was dropped off at the shelter out back, so that means somebody gave him up. He has all of his shots. He's been wormed and everything. He is available for adoption or rescue now. He is a beautiful black and white little puppy, and, well, he's not a puppy. He's 1 to 2 years old. So if you would like to schedule a play date with Rory or any one of the other available pups, you can always get a hold of the Minidoka Joint Powers Animal Control Shelter. Their phone number is 438-2200, or you can always give Officer Moore a call at 678-7268 or 670-7268.
You said he is a cross of what?
He is a Border Collie Griffin cross, and I'm not sure exactly what a Griffin is.
Isn't a Griffin one of those real kind of hairy and curly-cued haired type dogs?
I am actually looking.
I think they got hair that's all kinked up like they had a bad perm or something.
Actually, a Griffin looks more like a wire-haired terrier.
Oh.
From the images that I'm pulling up online, he looks like a wire-haired terrier.
Oh. They don't have the bad permanent?
No,
Oh.
They're not all all fuzzy and bad perms.
And so you think that, and his name is Rory.
Rory.
Okay, and you think that he may be housebroken.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh.
No, I haven't met him. But according to Officer Mort and the post put up on Facebook, they do believe that he is house trained. Probably just by the way he's acting when he's in the kennel. He probably wants to go outside of his kennel to do his business.
The best way to check that, to be absolutely sure, is to leave the dog in your bedroom with the door closed and get out of bed at night in the dark without turning the lights on, and you'll find out whether he's housebroken or not.
Yes, and you know what my dog does? Because she's a house dog, and of course she is housebroken. She'll wake me up.
Oh.
She'll wake me up to go outside.
Now, little Ruby, you've been around little Ruby.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Now, Ruby was always an outside dog by the people that used to have her. She never went in their house. Ever. Ever. No. And that dog, when we got her, the first winter we had her, it was so severely cold, we felt sorry for her, and so we thought we'd leave her on the back porch.
Okay.
Never to this day, ever, has there been any little piddle.
That's the same with Shelby. And when I got Shelby, she was a pound puppy, and actually I picked her up from the Minidoka Animal Shelter, and this was about 9-10 years ago. Never once have I had one accident. There was one time she did have an accident, but she was pregnant at the time, and she had been inside for too long, and she had a little accident right by the back door.
Oh, see?
Because she needed to go outside.
Yeah.
Other than that, she has never, not once. But
I had a guy tell me one time that the reason that Ruby never would make a mess in the house is because she was used to always being outside when she had nature's call. And so she would stand at the back door. Seriously, she does it right now today. She'll just stand right there at the back door, and she'll look at the door and then occasionally go, whoop, whoop, like that. And you better know she's got to go through the door on the other side.
Yeah, and so this is my question. Maybe somebody knows this or doesn't know this. I don't know. If some dogs just inherently know, hey, I can't do my business in here. I better go out there. I wonder if some dogs inherently know that. Or, if they just figure it out on their own. I don't know.
I don't either. But Rory sounds like a pretty dog.
He is a very pretty dog. He's mostly black. He's got white socks.
White socks.
He's got white socks on him. His two front legs are basically like white socks.
And he loves to come bounding across the carpet and jump up in your lap.
Yes, because he wants to be a lap dog. That is his dream in life, to be a lap dog. But he is about 1 to 2 years old, so that means he's...
There's St. Bernards that want to be lap dogs, too, but what are you going to do?
Nothing. Hey, bud, you can just sit here and drool all over the place.
That's not funny, because the other day we went to vote, okay?
Okay.
And I walked out of the voting establishment, and in the back of this pickup was this huge head laying on the tailgate, and the saliva and the drool was just going down the back of the tailgate, and it was this absolutely elephant-sized St. Bernard. And he looked at me and he goes, ugh. And meanwhile, you saw the fat guy on crutches bail through the door and lock it. I thought he was going to come after me.
St. Bernards, they are kind of protective, but man, and they say that you can get a dry mouth St. Bernard, ones that don't drool as much.
Really?
Seriously. They say they do have, the dry mouth breed where they still drool, but they just don't drool as much.
There's a lot of older people that would like to learn how to do that.
Be the dry mouth sort?
Yeah, when you get to be a certain age and then you sit there and you nod off to sleep and you wake up and you're in the middle of Murtaugh Lake, it's all because you were drooling for the last 2 hours.
Well, as long as you don't fall asleep with your mouth open and your tongue hanging out, you're pretty good.
Okay. Once again, if people want to have a play day with Rory, what do they do?
They need to get hold of the Minidoka Animal Shelter at 438-2200, or they can call Officer Mort at 670-7268.
Where'd all these dogs come from anyway?
Dogs out! Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Gina did a great job filling in for Officer Mort. Oh, my goodness. Look at the time already. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
morning. I'm good. How you doing?
I got to be honest with you, Rita, and you've been around the radio business enough to know that after the last couple of weeks, almost months of preparation with all the different advertisements and everything for the political ads and the trying to squeeze in like, I don't know, a couple of million per day to get them on the air, and once it's all over, you just feel like you've been walking into a windstorm all bent over, and now that it stops, you fall flat on your face.
Yes, that's exactly right. You kind of feel like you ought to be sitting back eating a cinnamon roll and having a big cup of hot chocolate with your feet up and just kind of go, man, it's good to be unbusy for a minute.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, okay, now we've got so much to talk about today. But here we go, and I know your feelings on a lot of subjects. You've been on this air for a long time explaining how you feel and the Tea Party and everything. Okay, bottom line is the Republicans, the conservatives, the Tea Party, all of us have been given a reprieve from the liberal left and Obama. Now that they've taken over the Senate. But there is, I think, no more chances. This will be the last hurrah if they mess this up. Do you agree or disagree?
I really agree, and the reason is because we can't continue going at the rate that we're going. And I just had a conversation with a couple of guys that were in here just a few minutes ago, and they were saying, well, do you think Mitch McConnell's going to be the majority, and, is this going to be good and everything? And I said, well, do you remember who the majority leader was in 2006 when we fired him?
That's right.
It was McConnell, and it was because he couldn't keep them to do anything, and they wouldn't uphold their Republican conservative principles. And that's why we got rid of all of those senators and congressmen in 2006, was because we were fed up with all their spending. And then, we got the Obama and company in a couple of years later, and things have just gone south since then. So we decided, okay, maybe it's better to have the others. But they've got to start making some changes. We cannot continue same as always.
Okay, but here we are. We had the election turnout to where, what is it now, like 35, 36 states out of 50 are red states now? Isn't that what it is?
Yes, in fact, I printed a map that showed a ton of blue on as of 2010,
yeah.
And there's the whole United States has a few little flicks of blue around the country.
And so
two-thirds of California is red.
That's right.
2/3 of Oregon is red. 4/5 of Oregon or of Washington is red, and you've got just a little tiny bit of Texas that's blue, and but the majority of the country is, and it is testament of how many Republican governors were elected on top of their Democratic ones to add on to the ones that are already there and being successful and getting their economies going despite the Obama administration.
Well, and I think, and I stand to be corrected on this, but I think 35 out of 50 are Republican governorships, I think.
I think that's right, because we were at 32 and we picked up 3 more.
Yeah. But my question is, and why I put so many buts in there, is what do we do? I said first hour, and you were probably listening, you'd better be or you lose your money. But anyway, I said the first hour that I am willing to go the extra yard and really get these guys on the air and demand that this be done and that be done, etc. I don't want to be friends with them. I want them to understand they work for us, you, me, everybody, and that they've got a job to do. What are we going to do? How can we get our point across? How do we let McConnell and the rest of these people know, this is your last hurrah. You got to trade in your saddle and go back to the city if you mess this up?
Well, they're only going to do something if we start nagging at them, and we have to make our voices heard. We can't just sit back and say, well, okay, that's good. And, in defense of our Senator Risch, he is the most conservative vote in the Senate, and out of 100, that's a pretty darn good record. And he also has the best voting record attendance, which means he is there for the votes more than anybody else. But and so he votes pretty conservative, and I think he's voting the way that the way that Idahoans would, mostly lean. But we've still got to get, send them letters and say, I appreciate that you're voting conservatively, but I hope that you're making some of that conservatism rub off onto your colleagues, because we have got to start buckling down and making sure that we get the things done that we need to, and reducing regulation and getting back to the Constitution. The Tea Party can be given all kinds of grief over being, those really right people. Well, you know what? If standing up for the Constitution and being conservative in money and spending and reducing regulation and lowering government so that they're not so much in your life, well, I guess we are far right. But what I want to know is, does everybody else love the government doing those other things that we're opposed to?
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point when you started this conversation about Mitch McConnell, and I certainly am not advocating that he retain the Senate majority leadership role, but Rita, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take people getting on the telephone. It's going to take people going to the Lincoln Day banquets. It's going to take people to be very forceful, almost to the point of being rude, because I honestly believe that for the next 2 years of his presidency, this man, Barack Obama, is capable of doing anything, like a rat backed into a corner, to get his ideology pushed through.
And he's going to do as much of it as he can before the end of December, because that's when everybody will come to office.
Yes.
Saying, we're the majority now, and we're going to hold your feet to the fire. Because right now, nobody's going to be doing it. They're not going to be doing anything, and I just really expect to see him doing some really, really bad stuff before the end of the year.
I said first hour, and you can write this down, and everybody can hold my feet to the fire if I'm wrong, but I have talked to a lot of people every day back on the East Coast that work for various think tanks in Washington, D.C., and then also New York. They are, and they agree with me, whether it's energy, whether it's the EPA and expanding their already absolutely cruel powers, whether it's the illegal alien reform immigration bill, or whether it's gun control, or all of the above. This president now is backed into a corner, and he's under a time constraint, like you just said, and I'm scared.
Yeah, I think he'll be like a rabid animal in a cage, saying, I gotta do stuff, and just get really vicious and start doing whatever he thinks he can get away with. Not whatever he thinks he can, but whatever he thinks he can get away with.
Did you watch the press conference yesterday?
I did.
Now, here's my feeling, and tell me if I'm wrong in your opinion. When he came into the room, it was the swaggering, arrogance, boisterous, I'm better than you attitude when he came up the steps. He's got a way of doing that just bothers me. And then when he leaned on the podium with that right arm, and he had those steely eyes looking out to the audience, it told me right there that this man, so egotistical, so arrogant, so abrasive, so absolutely cocky, he is not going to give an inch.
Oh, no, he's all about being in power. Remember when he was elected and somebody said something to him and he said, we won, you lost. In other words, we're in charge, keep your mouth shut, there's going to be no compromise. And he has shown that to be the truth. And right now, where he knows that there's going to have to be a lot of changes made because of these new people that will be going in there, that we gained a number in the House and we gained several in the Senate. And so we're the majorities, and he knows that there's going to be a lot of people having expectations of them to oppose some of his stuff. And I think he's going to be just like a rabid animal, just locked in a cage, trying to get out, doing whatever he can get away with, and letting everybody know that he's in charge. And his demeanor in that press conference yesterday was proof that that's exactly what he has. Oh, well, yeah, I'll be making some things, but they're going to have to remember that they're going to have to, make some compromises too. Oh, baloney. We have to make all the compromises. Nobody else has to compromise. It's just the Republicans, and when the Republicans don't, it's really the conservatives who end up making the compromises, because they're not in favor of doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and they get a lot of grief because they're saying, hey, wait a minute, we just can't do that.
A couple of the comments that he made that just galled me, okay? Because of his arrogance. He made this statement, I'm sure you picked up on it. Before the end of the year, we will take whatever lawful actions that I can take. That scared me. Then another one that he said, quote, I think it's safe to say I've shown a lot of patience. Rita, this man hasn't showed any patience. He hasn't shown any extension of the arm or the hand to shake hands with people that don't agree with him and try to come out with a compromise. How dare this man say things that he hasn't done in the last 6 years?
No, he's lawless. He is totally impatient to the nth degree. He has absolutely no chance of being patient and trying to compromise or work with those. We would have seen it when he had the majority.
Yeah.
We would have seen some of that if it's like, hey, we're going to do this, but they were just interested in showing people who was in charge. I mean, they didn't even get done some of the things that they wanted to do, because it was like, this is a one-man show. We're going to do it the way I want to do it, and there'll be no personal responsibility on my part.
Let me put you on the spot a little bit, and of all the categories of action and things that need to be done, whether it's an energy program, and by the way, this country hasn't had an energy program for the last 7 years, whether it's the EPA being just allowed to run rampant, whether it's the illegal aliens and immigration reform, whether it's gun control, whatever it is, what do you personally think in the next 60 days are going to be the most dangerous for this man to throw at us?
I think one of the most dangerous things is going to be immigration, because I think he's going to just open the doors for anybody to come in. We're going to pass out green cards, and you can just do whatever you want to do. And I think that there's still, and I know this sounds like a broken record, but I still think that he's trying to overwhelm the system, just the Cloward and Piven strategy, and get things going so that we've got major problems, and he's going to have to come in and say, okay, I'm going to have to be in charge, and we're going to have to, it may even come down to we're going to have to issue martial law so that people are not lawless, and we've got control of them.
Now, right there, you said what I said in the first hour. I looked into those eyes yesterday during that press conference, and I saw a man that looked like he was backed into a corner. He has lost virtually all of his support. He's lost, look at the Clintons, look at Hillary, look at how a year and a half ago on television, they tried to be nice during an interview, and Hillary sat off to his left, and they went, like they were buddy-buddy, and everybody agreed with everybody. Now, absolutely, this is falling apart like a cheap suit. Name somebody that he really can depend on right now, because he's kind of like a man on an island surrounded by sharks.
Well, I think he is kind of a loner, because everybody's tired of being burned, and everybody around him, it's kind of like, well, I'll just toss you under the bus. I mean, we should have seen that coming when he tossed his grandma under the bus before he was ever elected. The big problem is that he can do anything, and he wants to do anything, and Hillary's just fine with him doing all that kind of stuff, because she can distance herself from him and say, hey, that was him. I'm more moderate than him, so I would be the perfect choice for a president.
I agree. Caller, good morning. You're on the air with your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, last night, Bill O'Reilly was talking about if Obama was to go ahead and then sign an executive order to allow the immigrants to be legalized, in essence, that the Republicans would hold him accountable. And that if he went ahead and went against what he said he was going to do, he would be a liar. And I thought, well, all he does is lie. And what is amazing to me is that, very few, we call him a liar, I call him a liar, he is a liar. It can be proven up one side and down the other every day. But O'Reilly acted like it was going to be, that he was somehow going to be honorable about this immigration issue in an executive order.
Yeah.
And then the Republicans are going to somehow do something about it. And with McConnell, I just don't understand how in the hell you could be so, when you're that close to the issue, how could you be so blind? I don't know. I'll just hang up.
Yeah, I appreciate your remarks. Go ahead, Rita, and respond if you would.
I think it's absolute. I think he's right. I think that, people need to just stand up and say, you know what, we're not going to take this anymore. And you have people even Bill O'Reilly, we kind of look at him because he's on the more conservative news channel. But it's kind of like he doesn't believe any of this kind of stuff is going to be happening.
That's
right. All of a sudden he gets outraged and is like, holy cow, I can't believe this happened.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hello, is what we've been saying.
And I want to say this. I came out and I've got it on record on this program, thanks to my webmaster, John Ellis, and everything. We store all these programs. I said a couple of years ago that I absolutely thought Bill O'Reilly was basically a fence sitter on these issues with Obama, and basically was a friend to this Obama administration and not being fair and not being cynical of what this man was trying to do. And then all of a sudden it seems like he had a educational moment, and then he started to criticize Obama and has been criticizing him as of late. But the naivete of Bill O'Reilly, I think he was too much in lockstep of trying to be a good old boy with the president.
Well, and I think to add to that, it's kind of like, well, I'm giving an opinion, so I can't give my opinion. I have to just kind of ride down the middle of the road, and there's been a lot of people that are giving a little grief over that, and I agree, but it's like, okay, he's going to go down the middle of the road, and then all of a sudden he's just totally outraged with what's going on. Remember that shouting match that he had with Geraldo over the illegals, that illegal guy that had ended up killing those teenage girls in that wreck, and he had been deported a number of times, and we've seen the same scenario happen a number of times since then. But, it's kind of like, well, President Obama, he really won't do that because he knows he can't get away with it because we won't let him. Well, it's like, baloney. Obama can get away with anything that he wants to, and it doesn't matter. What about those two police over in Sacramento that were killed a couple of weeks ago by that illegal guy who had been deported 4 times, and it was only reported as being deported twice, and they keep trying to hide it and everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. There are people, and there's a lot of them in the news media that are willing to turn their back, and it even happens on O'Reilly. I was watching the 5 yesterday, and it really quite irritated me when all of a sudden they jumped on and said, oh yeah, Mitch McConnell's going to be so wonderful. He's a good man. He just is a real statesman, and he'll do a good job. It's kind of like, did you forget who was the majority leader prior to 2006 when we kicked all of them out?
That's exactly right, Rita. I'm glad you brought that up. Stand by just for a minute, Rita. I've got to get a weather forecast in here, sponsored by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps, all through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, providing warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Right now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zip of the Ranch. It's real simple. Got nice weather all the way through the weekend. And your temperature is going to be in the low 60s for the daytime high. Might be 65. Overnight will be right around the low to mid-30s. Good weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, Michael. Brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Rita, I want to talk to you a little bit about Hillary. I don't see it as a slam dunk for her to get the Democratic nod and nomination. And I know there's going to be ladies out in the audience that are going to be very critical of me when I say this, but Hillary, in my opinion, opinion, has really let herself go. In times when she's up at podiums and doing public speaking and on major network newscasts, she looks like a cleaning lady that lost her broom, very disheveled and very unknowledgeable about what she's saying. Am I the only one that's picking up on this, or do you agree?
No, I've kind of noticed, and where I'm not the kind of person that really likes to say somebody looks this or looks that. It's more what's in their heart and their mouth and their mind is what I look at. I still think that same thing. The thing that really has bothered me, and nobody took her to task over it, is like, remember when she said I think it was a couple of weeks ago, she was at that one speaking engagement that she was giving, it was at one of the universities,
yes.
And she said, just remember, those people who try to tell you that it's business who creates jobs, they don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, you have no clue.
Well, and again, I agree with everything you just said a minute ago. But for a person that is going to be in the public eye, a person that is going to be seen worldwide by every leader in the world, and they're going to be analyzed and criticized as they run for the highest position in the world, quite frankly, the presidency of the United States, she looks like she's not all there. She looks like she doesn't care. And when I say she looks kind of disheveled and unknowledgeable in some of the things she says, I'm beginning to wonder, and I want you to criticize me if you think I'm wrong, I'm wondering if her health and also her mental capacity has not been diminished.
Well, I've kind of wondered that myself, so I am in that voting column with you. I just think that if she was really trying to run for the president, that she wouldn't have said some of the stuff she had, and that she would be on her best, and boy, she'd be spruced up looking like $1 million. So it makes me wonder. I don't know what they've got up their sleeves.
Tell us, we've got about a minute left before I have to depart today, but what is now going on with the Tea Party after these elections?
Well, we're going to start organizing so that we can go to the State House and voice our opinions with many, many other people about Common Core. But I just wanted to say a couple of things about the Tea Party in these elections. Senator Tim Scott was reelected in South Carolina. He's a Tea Party guy, and he, incidentally, the only black man that has been elected to the Senate. And Congresswoman-elect Mia Love, who is a black woman, she was elected to the Congress. She is a Tea Party person from Utah. And Elise Stefanik, who is a 30-year-old Congress lady who was elected from New York, is a Tea Party person. So having some of those people in there with the big diversity and the difference that they are gives us hope. But I wanted to leave you with a quote that Senator Mike Lee said yesterday in an interview that somebody was giving him, and asked him, okay, where are we going? What's going to happen? How are we going to do things? And he said, well, some of the first things we're going to do is we're going to enforce some of the principles of limited constitutional government. And he says, you have to remember that the last time the Senate passed a budget, there was no such thing as an iPad, so that's about the first thing on our list.
Okay. That's true, too, isn't it? I forgot about that. Rita, you always bring a lot to the table when you come on this program. Thank you so much. Rita Ramsey, God bless, and we'll look forward to next Thursday.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and his extremely friendly, knowledgeable staff. These people are the best. Great options for you to get back to feeling like you. And they've got a pool at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation that you can have the hydrotherapy. Oh my goodness, I've noticed a marked difference in my leg with that hydrotherapy. You will too. They know all about sports medicine. Absolutely a great mix of exercises. Please let them help you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. You know about this time of the day, Gina's over there. She knows what's coming. I have been on a diet for quite some time, a cardboard diet, and I am so hungry, I am starving to death. And we're going to tell you about some great businesses right now. How about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland and Burley with the pumpkin empanadas. Do you realize how badly I would love to have a pumpkin empanada right now, right after I finished a southern baked burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell, either chicken or steak. Oh my, it sounds so good at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland Avenue in Burley. Or we can run over to Burgers, etc. 2 locations to serve you. That's right. 124 South Oneida in Rupert or 700 North Overland in Burley. Oh my goodness, they got soup every Monday through Friday, different variety every day, just in time for the cold weather to make you feel snuggy and all warm inside. And they got shrimp dinner specials at the Burley store on Sundays, I believe it is, and pumpkin shakes, and they've got everything over there at Burgers, etc. Great places, Rupert and Burley. Let's move on over to Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. Oh, you got to get in there and try that steak sandwich. That's my favorite. And they've got great people in there, always wearing a nice smile and being so friendly. And they've got the pork chops with salad and choice of potatoes, delicious. And of course, Steve's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. Oh, it's good. It's good at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. You stop in and see them today. I'm drooling. I'm hungry. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley, right next to Berry Equipment and Rental. Oh, the ribeye steak. That is my favorite, with a big potato. Oh, my goodness, New York steak, shrimp, salmon, everything. It's so good. And you're going to love it because it's kid and family friendly in a non-smoking environment. Holy smokes, they're open currently Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 9:30. Stop in. Duck Uglies, Highway 30 in Burley. And last but not least, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh my goodness, they've got the pumpkin shakes, and they got the ranch burgers, and they got the famous, very world-famous Farmer Brown burgers, and all the fries, and the special sauce. Oh my, you're going to love it. And like I said, they can make any flavored shake that you want right there at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. But you'll probably have to stand in line behind Gina and myself. I'm starving.
I know, me too.
And
I didn't have my typical breakfast sandwich this morning.
Don't buy. You stop and buy a sandwich on the way?
No, actually, I brought sandwich stuff here, and then when we're doing the show, I make myself a sandwich.
Oh, I did. Is that why sometimes when I call on you, you go, yeah, okay. We're going to take a little break, and coming up next hour, we've got, who have we got? We got Cassia County School Days, and we got Colonel Dale. We got all kinds of goodies. Stand by.
Nationwide project that we've adopted here at Duckville High School that ensures that no veteran from in the Duckville Cemetery will be forgotten this season. We are fundraising and planning, and my students are working, and we are going to place a holiday wreath on the grave of every veteran at the cemetery this year on December the 12th.
Weren't you or someone else connected to this project on my program a year ago?
It was me. I was there and talked about it, and it was before it happened, and it was an amazing experience.
You know, I want you to elaborate on that a little bit, if you would, Pam, because I just think this is such a great project, and it's a learning device that I think our young people, all of them, should be involved in.
The three-part mission of the Wreaths Across America program is to remember, honor, and teach. Mm-hmm. And so all three of those things fall in so well with my U.S. history curriculum. I tell my students at the very beginning of the year that my goal as their history teacher is to teach them appreciation for what they have and for those who sacrifice to provide it for them. Last year, my juniors did research, and they contacted family members last year and got the stories of those veterans that they were going to place a wreath for. Then we had a brief ceremony, and we plan to do the same thing this year. The results were amazing, and last year I shared some of their thoughts that came through the writing assignment, and their hearts were touched. But that December morning, when we stood in the cemetery, all 90 of my students and community members and the veterans, the American Legion group here in Declo, it was amazing to watch my students place wreaths on those graves and to see that they're touched. You know, the cost of the project is $15 per wreath, and we have 122 veterans in our local cemetery. That's a lot of money, so just over $1,800. And when I look at that and debated whether or not we wanted to go forward with this project again, my question to myself and to just at large is, what is the cost of patriotism? And the chance that it gives my students to experience this, to me, is nearly priceless.
Let me ask.
So we are going forward and working toward that goal.
All right, now let's break this down right now in the time remaining. How can the general public and businesses, how can they help? This is a project that it just hits my heart. How can we help? What can we do? What can businesses do? How do they get a hold of you? Well, how can they get involved? Please tell us.
We would accept any and all donations here at the school. They can mail checks made directly to Declo High School at 505 East Main Street. They can drop them off if they want to make a donation and don't want either of those options. If they give us a call, students will come to their homes and pick their donations up for them. That would be fabulous. We've kind of broken it down, and each of the students have names assigned to them, and then they are responsible for that much money. So most of them have 2, some of them will have 3 graves to raise money for, 3 veterans that they are responsible. Then we have support from our Declo Lions Club. The city of Declo supports us financially. I believe last year they paid for 10 of our graves, and the Lions Club for even more than that. But I don't want it to be a burden on my students' families. A lot of them will go ahead and make that donation and are so happy to do it. But there are some that's a financial hardship, and so that is where I need the public support. Also, we would love to have anyone that is interested visit with us and spend time with us on that morning. We have a very brief ceremony. It starts about 10 o'clock. One of the things that happens first is that we lay 7 ceremonial wreaths, 1 for each division of the military, and then 1, and so it will have an American flag, and then that branch of military's flag, and then also 1 for POW MIA.
All right.
And so we have that wreath laying ceremony, and then the students go out and find their own veterans and place their wreaths.
Let me ask you, Pam, I don't know if you mentioned it, but please do so. What are the costs per wreath, so that if a person wants to help donate for 1 or 10 or whatever the number, how much do they need to allocate for?
It is $15 per wreath.
Okay.
Those wreaths are made in Maine. They are the exact same wreaths that are placed at Arlington National. And so they are then trucked out. Volunteers bring them out to the west, and they come just a couple of days before our ceremony, and then we keep them here. So $15 per wreath.
And what is the number that's needed right now, so we can put some urgency to this for the audience?
There are 122 veterans in our cemetery, so that total is $1,830.
Okay. And is there a number they can call and get more information?
Absolutely. They can contact me here at the school at 654-2030.
Very well done. You know, I've got to ask you, because I think you commented on this last year, and I'm trying to remember and go through my notes, but some of the personality changes of some of the students when they were involved in this. Would you care to share with us a couple of those stories?
I would be so happy to. While they know the veterans, they know that the whole gist of that, it never becomes personal for our teenagers. They're just developmentally, they are just not there yet. And so we have to give them this kind of an experience. We assigned them names, and they went and talked to families, and then they had to write up something about that person, about their involvement, just a couple of things. One student wrote last year, each and every American citizen will be forever in debt to the veterans of our great nation. I have the utmost respect for those who fought and those who are still fighting for the freedoms that I enjoy every day. They give up everything for us. These great veterans of our country deserve all the respect and honor each of us can give.
Wow.
Coming from a high school junior.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Pam, first of all, I salute you, and kudos to you and what you're doing, and also for what they're learning, these young people. It's so easy to criticize the younger generation and think that we're all going to heck in a handbasket, when in essence, here's a completely different story and a different side of the story of where these young people are realizing the value of patriotism and what our veterans fought and died for. And I just can't thank you enough for what you're doing.
It is our honor to do that. We are so fortunate to live in a nation where we do, and to have the chance to live and appreciate and enjoy our life like we do. And we need to remember what has been done that allows us to live like this.
Absolutely. Now, once again, we're talking to Pam Young, teacher at Declo High School, and we're going to have the Wreaths Across America. And give us some deadlines, give us the place to send the checks. We need community involvement. We need the wreaths paid for. We need some help. Pam, give us a nutshell of everything that you need one more time.
One more time, the cost for this project is $15 per wreath. So the total for the Declo Cemetery is $1,830. Any checks and donations can come straight to Declo High School. Our mailing address is 505 East Main Street, and that we would request that the checks be made directly to the high school. If you have a cash donation and want someone to come past your home and pick that up, just give us a call at 654-2030. We will be glad to do that.
Wow. Please do me a favor, and after this has all been said and done, call me back on the program and tell us how it went.
I certainly will. I certainly will.
I absolutely salute you and Declo High School and all the students, and I certainly hope it's being supported by our community, and I hope that you are just absolutely overflowing with money towards this project.
Thank you. And just one more thing, if I may add, our wreath-laying ceremony is going to be on December the 12th at 10 o'clock, and anyone and everyone is invited and encouraged to attend. The chance to be there in the cold on that morning with our students and to see what that does for them is truly worth your time.
Oh, Pam, thank you so much. God's blessings to you, and thanks for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Goodbye.
Thank you. Wow, that touches my heart, and I urge everybody to get involved. And if you have questions about that, again, Declo High School, Wreath for the Vets, Wreaths Across America. They're $15 each, and they need quite a few of them paid for. Please, we could all chip in, and we can all say thank you to our vets for what they've done. And it's a great educational tool for our students, too. Declo High School, 505 East Main in Declo, and let's all help. Don't forget this program brought to you by, of course, our friends at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, and also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. School days in Cassia County. Really nice folks. In just a moment, we're going to have Colonel Dale from the Book Plaza stand by, and I want to remind you about Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South, 450 West of Paul, and if you haven't been on the list yet to get your sprinklers blown out before they freeze, you better call 438-2485. That number again, 438-2485. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, and they will also prune your fruit trees, ornamental trees, shade trees, pull out the stumps. My goodness, call them today. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485. Get a chance right now to visit with a gentleman that I have the utmost respect for, and he's always involved in different projects to help the community, etc. And that's, of course, Colonel Dale over at the Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. And there's going to be a huge fall festival coming up this Saturday, November 8th at the Burley CSI Gymnasium. Tell us about it, Colonel Dale.
Hey, good morning, Zeb. Good to talk to you. Are you as happy as I am about the way things are turning out?
Absolutely. I just look forward to every day on the radio. I'll guarantee you that. Thank you for
this is going to be at the CSI gym in Burley. It's the old Burley High School. And it's being sponsored by the National Pioneer Hall of Fame, the Idaho chapter. And it's to benefit our Wounded Warrior Project. Our name for it is Project Rudolph. I think everybody's heard about that. I hope they have. We sure had good support on that, Zeb, for the last several years that we've been doing it, and it's getting more exciting every year.
Let me ask you, Colonel Dale, for those out in the audience real quick that might not know what the Project Rudolph is and what it does, give us a quick thumbnail sketch.
Okay, every year, we work all year long for this time, and we send literally thousands. Last year, I think it was around 15,000 care packages to the wounded military people in hospitals and homes and places all around the world. And that's here in the U.S. and in 14 foreign countries. And the letters we get back from that just break your heart.
Well, now, tell us a little bit about, real quick, I've only got 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour and a hard break, but tell us a little bit about the different booths that'll be there this Saturday and what's going to happen at the CSI Center in Burley on Saturday.
Okay, it's open to the public and it's free, and we're encouraging to bring the kids. It's for the families. We've got a lot of vendors in there, and they're going to do for the children face painting. We've got the old-fashioned fish ponds. We've got crafts for children and adults, and then we're going to have an up-to-date Pioneer Hall booth to show people all the things we've done in the last few years.
Okay.
And we're going to have a pumpkin recipe competition and a project work table where people can bring in the things they want us to send overseas, like little pieces of candy. They have to be individually wrapped. And Christmas decorations and cards and letters.
Well, it sounds to me, along with the craft booths and all the bake sale items and all the fun game booths and food booths and everything, this is going to be a great day. And it runs from what, Colonel Dale? Noon to 4, is that correct?
Yes, it's from noon to 4 at the Burley CSI Gym Center. They're on Park Avenue.
Okay, and believe me, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's the Fall Festival for Project Rudolph, and it's just going to be a great day for everybody to get involved and feel like they're really helping the community and also our soldiers. And thank you, Colonel Dale from the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. And God bless you, sir. You are always involved in some great projects.
Thank you, Deb. Bye.
Take care, my friend. Thank you. That man is just an extra special gentleman, and I always look forward to having him be a part of our program. Colonel Dale from the Book Plaza in Burley. We're going to take a little break here for a few moments, so stand by. But before we do, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Don't forget, whether it's a gas furnace or whether it's an air conditioner, a heat pump, whatever, you'll enjoy the comfort from Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Here now, our break at the bottom of the hour.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Don't forget Snyder's Surplus. It's not just army and hunting supplies anymore. They've got something for everybody at 112 South 200 west of Rupert. Don't forget, brand new building, brand new merchandise, and same great friendly service serving you, whether it's office chairs or whether it's desks or whether it's filing cabinets, even tea tables. Would you care for a spot of tea? Or wool blankets or anything, bunk beds. They've got it all at Snyder's Surplus. 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. What are you waiting for? Get on over to Snyder's Surplus and find what you're looking for. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and I haven't even had a chance to kind of preview this conversational topic with this gentleman this morning, thanks to Casey Givens. I called Casey and I said, hey, Casey, I need somebody that's very knowledgeable to come on my program at 10:30. I had a cancellation, and I believe this young man's been on the program with us before. Let's say good morning to Jared Meyer. How are you, Jared?
Good. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Jared, give us a little background on yourself so you can bring me up to speed on who you are and what you're doing.
Well, I'm a policy analyst at Economics 21, which is the center of the Manhattan Institute, and I work a lot on regulations and other bills that are looking to be passed that would limit economic freedom and grow the size of the government.
Oh, my goodness, am I going to have a good time talking to you. I think let's kind of leave it in layman's...
Yeah, I'm sure we're both in a good mood this week.
Yes, I am. But there's a caveat there, though. I'm in a good mood about what happened as long as they control themselves and do the job for their voting constituency. Would you agree?
I think so. I mean, there's still a lot of issues that are going to have to be worked out, but I think there's areas of also bipartisan support that now that we've got Harry Reid out, we're going to be able to finally bring some common sense bills to the floor and get some real change in this country.
Let me ask you, though, Jared, I remember in the days of old that Mitch McConnell used to have that position before, and quite frankly, I was not satisfied with the job he did. Do you think we can hold his feet to the fire and make him do better and perform better this time around?
I think we can, because if you look at the results of the election, it was unequivocally a mandate to do something about the economy. This wasn't an election on social issues. It was all about, can we just do common sense reforms that will help grow the economy and get us out of this sputtering recovery from the recession that ended, 5 years ago.
Okay, now, you study this every day, and you're much more knowledgeable about various aspects of the economy than I am, but I'm just going to say this out of my own layman's terminology. The number one item, in my opinion, that has stagnated, slowed, and quite frankly pushed over the cliff our economy has been a lack of an energy program that's acceptable energy instead of this pie-in-the-sky, ridiculous solar and wind power. We've got the natural assets of coal and gas and oil, and we better start using them to put this country back on track to help stimulate the economy first and foremost.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. If you look at states that are taking advantage of this energy boom, such as obviously Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, all these states, especially Texas, you're seeing strong employment growth, and it's almost two separate economies, looking at the Texas economy and the U.S. economy as a whole. So the boom that we've seen in energy, though, has surprisingly been entirely on state and private lands. The number of federal acres leased for energy exploration has actually decreased since 2008, in the midst of an American energy renaissance. That just makes no sense. We're leaving tons of economic opportunity on the table.
All right, now listen, I want to know your thoughts straight across the board. Will this new Republican-led Senate and the power that they now have, will they be able to make Obama sign for the Keystone Pipeline?
I think they will, because you're going to see a bill passed now in the Senate that forces a decision, kind of finally pushes his hand on something he's been dragging his feet for a long time. And I think he's going to sign it. I mean, there's some powerful Democratic backers, including the labor unions, that want Keystone approved, because that's putting good jobs in the hands of Americans. It really should not be a debate anymore. I mean, even the State Department's review found that it's not going to significantly increase carbon emissions to approve the Keystone Pipeline. There's really no justification for doing it anymore, except for just to hold back economic growth.
All right, but now, and I need you to do me a favor, Jared. We've got kind of a bad connection. I need you to really speak into your mouthpiece of that phone and hold it really still, because it's wavering quite a bit, so if you would. I don't trust this man. I don't trust Obama. I think right now he's going to be like a cornered rat. I think that he will do anything, whether it's anti-energy programs, whether it's releasing more power to the EPA, whether it's immigration reform, whether it's gun control. I don't know what it is. I don't trust this man. Your thoughts?
I think he's concerned about his legacy, and in the next 2 years, what he's going to have to do, if he wants to be remembered as at least an okay president, he's going to have to move on areas of bipartisan support, such as criminal justice reform, corporate tax reform, cutting the rate down to the, advanced world average of 25% instead of our 34% now. There's just some common sense things that I think a president worried about his legacy is going to be looking to do, regardless of how these past 6 years have went.
What about, though, an albatross around his neck and all of ours, and that's Obamacare? With the hidden agendas that were involved in Obamacare, and some of it even about gun control. I mean, there's over 2,000 pages of just absolute hideous and very heinous activities. How are we going to make reparation of Obamacare, or can we just absolutely repeal it? How do we do this?
One thing I do see as a critical reform for Obamacare that I think is going to happen is repealing the employer mandate, which forces employees to offer health insurance to their full-time, or employers to offer health insurance to their full-time employees if they have over 50 full-time equivalent employees. But even the left-leaning Urban Institute, which is usually, providing the policy background for Democratic policies, is saying that we need to eliminate the employer mandate because it's having a negative effect on hiring and business expansion, and it's just creating uncertainty. I mean, President Obama knows that it hurts hiring. That's why he's delayed it twice on his own already. So that's one area that I think we will see some meaningful reform. There's much more that needs to be done, but that's at least a first step in trying to reform Obamacare.
Do you trust the man? I mean, you're closer to many situations with this administration than we are out here in the West, but I don't trust the man. I don't trust his ideology, and quite frankly, there's the problem right there is his ideology. I don't trust the people that are his base. I don't trust the power that they have. I just honestly think this man is going to do anything he can to disrupt things until 2016.
Well, one area that will kind of give us a hint on how much we can trust him is if he shakes up his cabinet. With a Republican-controlled Senate and House, he's going to need different people advising him and letting him know which policies to pursue, because what they've been doing so far clearly hasn't worked, and hopefully this election landslide has kind of jarred him into making a change. So I think if he makes some key cabinet changes, it could be a productive next 2 years.
Okay. I said this in every hour this morning, and I mean it. The Republicans have been handed a reprieve. They've been handed the golden egg, one possibly last time. They can't mess this up, whether it's our senators and our congressmen from the state of Idaho or whether it's yours or whatever state. They can't mess this up, and we can't let them. What would you tell the American public they need to do to make sure they hold the feet to the fire of their politicians?
I would make sure that, first of all, they need to remind them why they were sent there. They were sent there to get the economy back on track. They weren't sent there to give out special interest handouts or to worry about their next election. What they're sent there to do is make some real change right now and enact common sense policies that nearly all Americans support. We can remind them of doing that, and as you said, hold them accountable, not let them get away with it as has happened in the past, because this isn't the first time we've had a Republican landslide, and it's been disappointing in the past. We need real change, not just more government spending on different programs and more regulation given to other special interests.
Yeah, but
it needs to be a complete paradigm shift to show what the public really wants.
Okay, but Jared, therein lies the problem. I'm just very concerned that we have today, more so than in years past, a lackadaisical society of always saying, well, gee, the other guy can do it, or gee, the other person can hold their feet to the fire. Let somebody else do it. The general public has got to remember the first 3 words of the Constitution, we the people. They've got to get up off their dead butts and go to work.
That's a very good way to put it. They do need to remember that, and hopefully now we've seen engagement has been fairly high, especially in the last election, going back to 2008. And even among young people, there's been some more political engagement as issues start to touch them. But you're right, it's got to keep increasing, or else it's going to be business as usual in Washington.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic that this will work? I think what scares me is that they're already gearing up for the 2016 elections. There are already many people that are gearing up like it's a slam dunk that Hillary's going to run and that she will possibly become the president. I mean, we can't stand to get her back in there as president and espouse to many of the similar ideologies that this man has. I mean, my goodness, we're never going to get out of this rut.
And if the current Congress doesn't have something to show for it, that's what's going to happen. The public's going to want to change again and switch back. What they need to do is make sure that they convince the public that they're actually working for their own good and that they're not working to, help their donors or help, their pet policies. They need to go there to do what the voters sent them to do.
Absolutely. Jared, I want to tell you how much I absolutely appreciate you jumping into the fire this morning to come on my program with not much notice. God's blessings to you, and thank you so much for being a part of the show, and please come back.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Jared Meyer with the Manhattan Institute back on the East Coast, think tank that discusses and studies what's going on or isn't going on or what should go on in politics today, and I thank him very much for being on the program. Holy smokes, I got to have a weather forecast here, and the weather this hour is brought to everyone by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They sell taste one bite at a time. And how does a smoked ham or smoked turkey sound for Thanksgiving? It sounds so good. Absolutely. Well, order yours now at Scarrows Meats. The number to call, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, as I said, selling taste one bite at a time. Here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. It's real simple. Got nice weather all the way through the weekend. And your temperature is going to be in the low 60s for the daytime. I might see 65. Bananas will be right around the low to mid-30s. You're the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, selling taste one bite at a time. Gina. Are you there?
No, I ran away.
You scare me when you don't answer like that.
Oh, I was talking to Scotty.
What's the big man doing?
Nothing. Well, he is doing something. He's doing a lot. He's got to run home. Apparently, he ripped his pants today.
Excuse me?
Ripped his pants.
Now, one would find that humorous, other than the fact that Scotty is a big guy.
Well, he ripped the seam down the leg. So it's not like it starts like mid-thigh and it goes down to like the knee. So he ripped out the seam. So you don't see anything, but...
How does one manage to rip his pants in that particular location?
I don't know. Maybe he hit a snag on something. I don't know. I didn't ask him that part.
So he's walking around the station being a kind of a middle-aged flasher.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, is he there?
He just went into the cat studio.
I see. Well, I thought maybe it might not be a bad idea for him to use a thread and a needle.
Honestly, I think I've got some up in my desk up front.
I don't even go there. Never mind. Never mind.
Hey, you never know when you're going to need it.
I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
And if this offends somebody, or somebody's going to get all irate and they're going to call and they're going to condemn me to the station management or whatever, I've got broad shoulders, I'll take it. Okay. But I think some of the advertisements on television for DirecTV with Rob Lowe are absolutely bottom of the barrel disgusting.
Are they that bad?
They're that bad. I'll tell you why. Have we resorted to commercials that they have to use an old man standing at a urinal?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm a prude. Maybe you can say, come on, get with the 21st century. But I personally would never buy DirecTV primarily because of that commercial. And Rob Lowe dressed as an old man standing in a urinal. It's absolutely disgusting.
Right. I have to say, first and foremost, I've not seen the commercials, so I don't know about them. Honestly, this is the first time I've heard of it. The concept, I think, is kind of funny. However, it is kind of distasteful, especially now. What time of the day are they airing these? Are they airing these like
prime time? Prime time.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Not prime time.
And last night,
after 10 o'clock at night, it would be feasible to air those.
No. I mean, they had one of them on last night on one of the network programs at 6:30. They had another one on at 6:45 on another network. And I'm not trying to sound like Susan Spotless, but to me, it's not good advertising.
No, it's not good advertising. For what you just described to me, and like I said, I have not seen the ads. That would be something post-prime time, like after 10 o'clock at night, because I don't want Kennedy to see something like that. Yeah. That's tasteless. Honestly, that's truly tasteless. And so if they're going to go for that type of humor, then that's the overnight crowd. That is the late-night crowd. That's not the primetime crowd.
Well, knowing you and knowing your little boy, and you're very protective of Kennedy, and I have utmost respect for that. It's not just the youth. It's not just it's just such a tacky and tasteless commercial that I told Deanne I would never buy their product or have it in my home because of that commercial.
Yes, and I've seen commercials on television where I've looked to my brother or looked to James and said, you know what? Because of that commercial, I'm not going to buy or subscribe to or do whatever this product is trying to get me to do, just because of the style of advertising that they use. And so I can get that.
And if they come after me and criticize me for my comments, I got big shoulders because I still have an opinion program, and I still will represent what I think is clean and wholesome for the family entertainment and family viewing. Yes. That is not a good commercial. Caller, I'll take that call, and then I'll come back to you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
That's why I dropped direct as fast as a hot biscuit, and I went back to Dish because I got sick and tired of the rotten receptions and stuff that we was getting from direct.
Well, okay, forget all that for a minute and just talk to me as what you thought of that particular commercial that's being aired on all the network programming right now.
It's disgusting.
I think so, too.
Who in the hell cares about what that old man's doing there at the urinal?
Well, I knew you'd be blunt about it, but you're right. And I think, honestly, it's so tasteless, the way that they did it. I just think that it's going to hurt their advertising, it's going to hurt their sales, and it should.
Sure it is. I mean, some of these advertisements they're coming up with, they better start using their noodle and quit putting that stuff on because people are getting sick and tired of it.
I agree. Al, thank you for calling in. I do appreciate that.
Have a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Week so far.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Bye.
My wife and I talked about it in great length the other day, and she said the same thing, too. It's just absolutely a tasteless situation. I would think, and let me pose this to you, Gina, when there's some really good advertisements on television, really good. And I'm not going to name anybody specifically, but remember years ago, some of the best ads on TV during the holiday season used to be like the Coca-Cola ads and that type of thing. But to stoop the other way and to go into a men's room and promote DirecTV, that's tacky.
That is tacky.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Linda.
I will call them up and tell them.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I will call up DirecTV and tell them.
I appreciate that because the advertisement is not very tasteful.
Well, I haven't seen it, but no, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. What else can I do for you this morning, my dear?
Well, the other thing is I just wanted to remind everybody about Little Flowers Church Bazaar on November the 8th from 11 to 7.
Little Flower Church Bazaar on Saturday the 8th from 11 to 7, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, you just did, and we certainly hope everybody turns out.
Wonderful. And I will see you Monday at Retired Teachers.
Yes, you will, and I'm looking forward to it. God bless you, Linda. Have a wonderful weekend.
God bless you, folks. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you very much. Gina, that's something I was going to ask you about. Monday, I might have to leave the program just a little bit early, a few minutes early. I've got to speak at a luncheon, and I don't want to get picked up by the cops anymore.
You've been making a habit out of that, haven't you?
Let's just say that I'm really good friends with some of them.
They know you on a first-name basis, now don't they?
Some of them just shake their head when I go by, and they close their eyes.
They're like, I'm not seeing this, I'm not seeing this, I'm not seeing this.
Amen. Anyhow, I probably am going to be criticized for criticizing DirecTV's ads, but, so be it. Let's get some class back into advertising.
Amen.
Yeah.
There are some, whatever happened to the wholesome, like, Coca-Cola ads.
Yeah.
The winter ads with the polar bear.
Oh, yeah.
And the advertising like that. I miss that, because and I do have to agree that some of the advertising that is going on now is rude, crude, lewd, and just sometimes over the top, especially for prime time.
I agree. And that's why this offended me. And it's not just this ad. As you said, there's others that are at least as bad or maybe even worse. But I just don't need to have something that tactless come into my living room and be to where they want to sell me something. They'll never sell me on that product.
No, and simply for the fact of the advertising that they're trying to put forth.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gina. I appreciate it. Don't forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, all 7 locations serving you, and I mean serving. All the winter driving needs are right there. They got the studded snow tires, and they've got all the great traction tires. The Ultra Z900, the Eclipse, they've got them all for you. And the best in brake service. Absolutely the best. And, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. I want to talk about batteries just for a minute because we're hearing that this weather is going to change all of a sudden and fall off the cliff and get cold. Well, you go out in the morning and turn the key and all of a sudden, whoop, 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 nothing. Well, make sure you've got a good battery from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And those locations are as follows: Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Real quick, I want to remind you that coming up on November 20th, Thursday night, November 20th, the Golden Heritage Senior Center is going to be presenting the first annual Pilgrim's Pride Thanksgiving Dinner. This is going to be starting at 5 p.m. in the afternoon and going till whenever. And it's going to be at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on Overland and Burley. They're going to have turkey and ham and all the trimmings, door prizes, raffles, games. Please come out and support this event. Why? Because they need the money. That's why. And they need to have the financial support for the Meals on Wheels program, too. So please, Golden Heritage Senior Center, first annual Pilgrim's Pride Thanksgiving Dinner. Tickets are only $5. Now, come on, please stop over there on the 20th and enjoy that dinner from 5 p.m. till whenever, and it's going to be for a great cause, okay? We're looking forward to seeing you there. I'm going to take off for the rest of the weekend. And by the way, I have some tickets for that Pilgrim Pride dinner, and if you'd like to call me, I'll make sure that you get a ticket. I'm going to be taking off for the rest of the weekend and leaving this in the very capable hands of Gina and the rest of the staff. And we'll be back on Monday morning at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch, the way things were, the way things ought to be. God bless. We'll see you next week.